Steven Spielberg has spent nearly 50 years asking one question: what happens when ordinary people encounter the extraordinary? In Jaws, it was a shark. In Close Encounters of Third Kind, it was aliens. In E.T., it was friendship across worlds. And now in Disclosure Day, Spielberg returns to the subject that has fascinated him more than anything else in his career. What if humanity finally learned the truth? Not through invasion, not through war, but through disclosure. The result is a film that is beautiful, ambitious, frustrating, deeply human, and unmistakably Spielberg. A movie that often reaches for greatness and sometimes almost touches it. Hello everyone and welcome back to Film Relic. Today we are reviewing Disclosure Day, starring Emily Blunt, Josh O'Connor, Colin Firth, and directed by Steven Spielberg. Modern science fiction is obsessed with answers. Everything must be explained, every mystery solved, and every universe expanded. Disclosure Day does the exact opposite. It embraces uncertainty and confusion, and most importantly, it trusts its audience. The film opens with a sinister premise. A powerful technology corporation is hunting a whistleblower, Daniel Kellner, played by Josh O'Connor, a cyber hacker turned security consultant who discovers the truth about government's decades-long efforts to conceal alien activity. On the opposite side stands Noah Scanlon, played by Colin Firth, a man willing to suppress truth at any cost, even using recovered alien technology capable of invading people's minds. Spielberg visualizes these moments brilliantly through subtle changes in eye color, creating some of the film's most unsettling imagery. But the true heart of the story arrives through Emily Blunt's Margaret Fairchild, a weather presenter trapped in a forgettable television career who suddenly develops impossible abilities. She begins speaking foreign languages she never learned: Russian, Korean, even fragments of an alien language. Then comes something stranger. She begins hearing people's thoughts, feeling their emotions, experiencing their fears, and in the film obsessed with communication, that ability becomes its most important metaphor. The first thing audiences need to understand is this: Disclosure Day is not really about aliens. It's about humanity preparing itself for truth. And that distinction changes everything. Many viewers will walk into the theater expecting a mind-blowing disclosure, but Spielberg has different interests. The disclosure itself isn't the destination. The process of getting there is. The mystery unfolds similarly to Close Encounters of the Third Kind. The characters understand pieces of the puzzle. The audience doesn't. Information arrives gradually, fragments emerge, connections form, and you're forced to assemble the larger picture yourself. Some people will love this, others will hate it, because Spielberg and David Koepp deliberately refuse to spoon-feed information. Motivations remain unclear, characters' history remain partially hidden, relationships must be deciphered rather than explained. The audience becomes an active participant and not a passive observer. And honestly, that takes confidence. But it also creates some problems, because the screenplay is juggling an enormous number of themes: government secrecy, truth versus control, buried childhood memories, religious faith, alien life, empathy, and human connection. At times, the film feels like it's reaching toward profound ideas without fully committing to any single one. The result is a screenplay that remains fascinating but occasionally feels emotionally incomplete. There is one thing Spielberg does better than almost anyone who has ever picked up a camera. He makes the impossible feel believable. Not because the spectacle is realistic, but because the people are. His films rarely begin with heroes. They begin with ordinary individuals: teachers, parents, children, scientists, and journalists. People who feel recognizably human. Then he drops them into situations that should be absurd, and somehow you believe every second. Emily Blunt's Margaret is a perfect Spielberg protagonist. Confused, overwhelmed, and scared, yet compelled to move forward. That relatability is what gives the film emotional grounding. That same applies to the children throughout the story. Spielberg remains one of cinema's greatest directors of child performances. Their reactions never feel manufactured, they feel authentic. And that authenticity becomes the audience's entry point into the extraordinary. Acting wise, Emily Blunt carries a significant portion of this movie, not through speeches, not through exposition, but through emotional precision. She communicates anxiety, uncertainty, curiosity, and fear with remarkable subtlety. Watch her eyes, watch her hesitation, watch how she reacts to information rather than delivering it. The performance constantly reminds us that Margaret is experiencing events she barely understands herself, and because of that, we trust her. It's one of the strongest performances in a Spielberg film in years. Hearing John Williams' score in a Spielberg movie feels like meeting an old friend. In an age where many blockbusters rely on generic electronic pulses and industrial noise, Williams continues writing music with melody, emotion, identity, soul. This score is operatic, classical, and mysterious. There are moments where the music creates more wonder than the visual effects. And that's not a criticism of the visuals, that's a testament to Williams' genius, because few composers can make audiences feel awe quite like he can. Visually, the film is magnificent. Janusz Kamiński continues proving why he's one of the greatest cinematographers alive. Even Spielberg's trademark is here. Silhouettes against light, reflections, shadows, carefully staged blocking, and fluid camera movement. What impressed me most is how often scenes are constructed through perspective. Characters observe events, the audience observes alongside them. Close-ups transition into wider frames. Emotions transitions into spectacle, and everything flows naturally. Modern blockbusters often confuse moment with energy. Kamiński understands that composition creates energy, and that difference is enormous. If there is one area where the film occasionally struggles, it's editing. Sarah Brosher does commendable work, but I genuinely missed Michael Kahn's influence. Kahn, who is a long-time collaborator with Steven Spielberg, had an extraordinary ability to simplify complexity, to make sprawling narratives feel effortless. Here certain sections feel overextended, particularly when the film drifts away from the central mystery. The pacing occasionally slows, the momentum occasionally wavers, and the film feels every bit of its ambitious running time. Finally, Disclosure Day isn't Spielberg's most thrilling film. It isn't his most emotional, and it certainly isn't his most groundbreaking. But it might be one of his most sincere movies. Because beneath the alien mystery lies something surprisingly hopeful. A belief that empathy matters, a belief that truth matters, a belief that understanding one another may be humanity's greatest superpower. The screenplay occasionally bites off more than it can chew, the pacing isn't always consistent, and some ideas remain frustratingly underdeveloped, but Spielberg's direction, Emily Blunt's performance, John Williams' magnificent score, and Janusz Kamiński's stunning cinematography elevate the material far above its flaws. This isn't a movie about aliens arriving, it's a movie about humanity learning how to listen, and in today's world, that may be the most sci-fi idea of all. So what did you think about Disclosure Day? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoy such deep dive movie reviews and cinematic storytelling breakdowns, subscribe to Film Relic. Until next time, stay curious, stay cinematic.